Good morning, good evening, good night, everybody, and welcome once again to another riveting session of Living World of Darkness, Werewolf the Apocalypse. Tonight we have a very special scene involving a young Wendigo by the name of Kachina, and of course his dear friend Louis, the Bone Gnar. Kachina recently has received some very urgent news from his home Sept in Canada. He's received no information with it, just a spirit jaggling that has told him to come quick. It's an emergency. In order to make it there, of course, he has already arranged plans with Chases the Storm in order to use the moonbridge just this once in order to see what's going on with his family. So he contacts his friend Louis, and the two make plans to meet up at the moonbridge. When they get there, Chases the Storm is waiting for them, and of course he opens it, and the two find themselves transported to a remote sept in northern Canada, greeted, surprisingly not by a fellow Garu, but by one of the kinfolk who Kachina will notice is, in fact, one of his cousins.
Greetings, brother.
He smiles. His smile seems very sad, though, and he says, "Hello, Kachina. You've grown so much, but I'm afraid you're not here on pleasant matters."
Kachina received word of troubles. I came as quickly as I could. This is my friend Louis Castile. He is a member of Gaia's children.
He looks at Louis, just rubbing his chin like, before, coming out with it and saying, "He doesn't look like one of us. Are you Wendigo?"
No, my brother. I am Louis Castilla, Omid Ragabash Bonar, who follows Uktena.
Oh, you follow Uktena?
He simply nods. Yes, and my brother here asked me to come along. It was very urgent, and of course I will help my brothers, however I can.
He nods. Well, a follower of Uktena should be welcome here. I'll make sure to inform the elder of your presence. And looks at Kachina and sort of frowns and says, "I'm sorry," before leaving. The two of you finally get some time to sort of take in the setting. You're in the middle of a large clearing in the woods. The ground is covered in snow, but there's not much of note. There are a few cabins nearby, Sept housing, you assume, along with the opening to the moon bridge and a couple of stone seats and areas where campfires would normally be contained.
Lead on, cousin. Maybe you could tell us what's going on as Kachina starts walking.
I thought the cousin left us for a moment.
Oh.
Or was I wrong?
Yeah, the cousin has left the room.
Oh, okay. Alright, he's going to inform the elder. So Kachina looks around.
Louis just instinctively does the same as he wonders about this place. It looks so barren to him, and he doesn't know if that is always the case.
It doesn't take long for Kachina to find an individual that he might remember as something of one of the more hardline members of his sept, somebody who looked at everyone with a certain bit of scorn that was from the outside, everyone who eschewed the old traditional ways, who became more modern. He always seemed to be disapproving. His face filled with anger. He stands in Glabro over the carcass of a large narwhal, freshly plucked from the sea. And he spots Kachina. And his hands still covered in blood, he makes his way towards the two individuals, still with a salty face as ever. Well,
Greetings.
here I thought that you were just too good to ever show your face back here again.
You know, Uncle, is only Kachina left to make sure that things could be given to our tribe here so that they would be better off.
And look at you, dressed in the attire of the Wormcomers.
Kachina looks down at his leather jacket and leather pants that are made from animals he's gathered and turned into clothing. And he looks back up and raises an eyebrow.
He's going to give you that look. Don't correct your elders.
I would not think of doing so, Elder.
So, then I suppose the spirit was successful in letting you know your father is passed.
Kachina's opened his mouth slightly and then just kind of pauses. Father has passed.
He fell fighting the worm.
And it was a glorious death. His praises should be sung.
It was a waste. A total waste. More Wormcomers coming. Drilling. Looking for oils within the sands. As it is, as it always is.
And Kachina kind of looks over at Louis and then looks over at his uncle, and he kind of leans. Has not the blood been removed so they will not find any?
The chances for vengeance have come and gone. The true children of Wendigo dealt with those Wormcomers.
That is good.
And then he turns his scolding eyes to Louis.
Louis just sort of bows his head ever so slightly.
Who are you? What tribe are you of?
The name is Louis Castilla. Rakabesh born our Homid. Follows Uktena.
He snorts at him saying Bonar. And what's that you say? You follow Uktena?
Yes. Sir. Raya.
His large hands will come and he'll sort of tilt Louis' face up with kind of grabbing him by both jaws, turning his head to one side and then the other. He'll do, I suppose. Go then, Kachina. Go and see your mother. She's in the lodge, mourning over the loss of your father.
Yes, Uncle. And he starts walking towards there, kind of shoulders slumped a bit, but back straight. And hopefully Louis is following as well.
Oh yeah. Louis, he probably has some blood on his chin. He doesn't even bother to wipe it off as he just nods at the uncle and then turns away. And as they're walking, they're a little bit of earshots away. He'll say, "Your father is with Gaia. Although I am sorry for your loss. I am sure he was a great warrior.
Yes, father taught me many things. He was wise and strong. Guy has lost a great warrior today at his loss.
If you came from your father's loins, I am sure he must have been a great man and warrior. I barely know my father, he says with a bit of a smile.
And he comes to a certain house with, the draped over the doorway and animal skins, and he kind of opens it and takes his shoes off and steps inside. Make sure his hat's off and
Louis follows his example, also taking his shoes off.
The inside of the house is, it's relatively barren of anything. There are boxes containing your father's belongings and all that he had left to his children and his family. And of course, there is your mother. Her eyes are wet and puffy, and she's clearly deep, deep in mourning as she begins folding a beautiful tapestry and lying it with the rest of your father's belongings. The rest of the cabin is pretty bare. You can tell that it's probably temporary housing for those visiting, but in this occasion it has been prepared for a funeral and is still in the process of being prepared.
Kachina walks over. Mother, honored kinfolk,
She
my heart
looks
is
at you
heavy.
and she gives you a sad smile, reaching her arms up to embrace you in a hug.
And he hugs her deeply.
She hugs him tight and just reaches up and sort of like ruffles his hair a little, and she says, "Kachina, you're so grown. You look so much like your father. I wish he could have seen you before." She'll pull away and wipe her eyes.
So, Mother, I just received a spirit saying there was news, so I came. This is a shock and lays heavy on my heart. But the wormbringers that drilled for oil have been taken care of, Uncle said.
Yes, the worm bringers have been removed, but it still cost our Sept dearly.
Have you received my other letters that I sent?
Yes, we have. I'm so sorry we haven't taken the time to reply.
There must be heavy deeds all about. The worm does not rest. There's problems here. There's problems where I was. There's problems in another sept as well, we have heard. It seems like many things are coming together, unfortunately.
Yes, the worm has been a terrible foe lately, but even though it's cost us dearly, I know we can overcome this. We've overcome greater.
I have come, I will help in any way I can. And now Father is with ancestor spirits. Maybe he can guide us from there.
Maybe. We've asked you to come here, of course, for your father's funeral, but he's also left you a few things, and, well, your cousins are so much younger than you, and we feel that it would be best if we passed these heirlooms on to you.
I'm honored that I would be considered for such.
Well, I'm sure you've had a rough journey. If you'd like to go get some rest, we're going to have the funeral first thing in the morning. And we can do that in this scene, by the way. We don't have to end it.
Yeah. Kachina gives her, like, side hug of reassurance, pat on the back kind of thing, and nods and says, yes, I will get something to eat and rest. And Louis, I will show you where you can sleep and food to eat. And then we shall see the things tomorrow morning.
If, of course, your family is okay with it, with me staying and attending in respects to this great warrior of Gaia.
She just, she nods. It's not my place to decide who stays in the Sept, but I think Kachina would need all the friends he could have.
Yes, if Kachina has his say, Louis will be there at his side.
Of course, my friend.
And then he leaves that temporary place and shows him to sleeping quarters and brings him food and stuff. And the night passes uneventfully.
What Louis will be doing, Louis is a very impatient boy, so he won't be resting at all. He probably eats a little bit and wanders around for a long time, probably getting a lot of stink eye from the various Wendigo, as he tries to keep his distance and tries to be respectful and nod, and he knows he's an outsider. If Jenna were not happy with his presence, he's quite sure the Wendigo probably even less.
He's getting more than his fair share of stink eye, that's for sure. He even might pick up hearing of like some whispers asking why there are more worm bringers in the Sept.
And slowly just takes it like a champ. He's like, well,
you can sort of see Kachina's uncle sitting sort of at the head of a group with about 4 or 5 other Garuru around him, all of them just intently looking at Louis. If looks could kill, Louis would be a pile of little itty bitty, yeah.
Perhaps to their amazement or to their surprise, Louis gives them a very friendly smile and nod and say hello every time. It doesn't matter how angry people look at him. He's very happy to see them. Hello. Well, that's it.
Some of them may spit on the ground anytime he gestures towards them. They're very adamant in showing him that they don't like him.
Louis shrugs. He doesn't have enough rage to be angry about this. Also, they have been through enough, so he rationalizes how they, might not really be too keen about outsiders, especially right now.
As they're all kind of enjoying a meal, a kinfolk will make its way over to rends the ice, and he looks surprised and then angry as he stands up and he walks over to Kachina's mother and grabs her up by the arm rather abruptly and forcefully, bringing her up to her feet, pulling her away from the gathering.
And she flinches when this happens, but she follows him. What is it?
One of the kin told me the possessions that you carry. You telling me that you're giving it to him.
Well, yes, it's been in our family for so long.
He has left the Sept.
But it's what his father would have wanted.
It is not for him. It is not for him to decide. It is not for you to decide.
But this has been a part of our family for a very long time. You can't just take this part of our history from us.
And he'll grab her by the collar and sort of shake her. You are kin. Are you questioning me?
No, sir. No, it's just... Isn't there something he can do? I know I know how you feel about them leaving, but it's all he has left of his father.
The elder looks down at his sibling and releases a heavy-hearted sigh. Allow them to go see her. If she grants the blessing of this, then I will permit it.
Thank you, Rinse the Ice Ria. I promise he won't let us down.
Again.
She's
Go back to
standing
his-
with that comment.
And he'll go back to his seat among his retinue.
As Louis was privy to this, after he has left, he will probably get some food and just sit down next to the mother of Kachina. I am sorry for your loss. I am led to believe, although I have not heard much, that Kachina's father was a great warrior. Would you perhaps regale me with a tale of his greatness?
She smiles sort of sadly. He was a great warrior, one of the most distinguished members in our sept. I really loved him too. A great father to Kachina, to all of our children. He always went away on such intense work. I almost forgot to say goodbye to him when he left this time. That would have been awful.
Yeah. I'm
Hey, Andrew, does your father have a name, or am I gonna make that up?
You can totally make it up as cool.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it's always good to show your loved ones how much you care for them, because when we do Gaia's work, you never know when our last breath might be exhaled in this life before we go to her, into her warm embrace.
She nods. He's one of the reasons that this sept exists to this day, really. At one point there was a there was a threat from the I'm afraid I don't know what they're called. I'm not one of you. But they're like you, but worm tainted.
He just smiles and nods and doesn't say anything. He's assuming she doesn't mean it as an insult.
He it was him and his pack that drove them out, almost single-handedly. We lost some great men then too, but they saved almost all of us, even the cubs, the rest of the kinfolk.
It's so sad how one day you are victorious, and the other you might not be. The fight against the worm, it is difficult and hard.
Yes, it is, but, well, Kachina has his father's spirit. I don't think he's completely dead.
No, I don't think so either. And if Kachina has his way, before we know, New York will be, well, pure tribe country. He says with a smile.
She smiles as well. I'd like to visit sometime. Of course, she says this in a very hushed voice, making sure that the elder does not hear this sentiment.
We just nods, like, as he just chews a little bit.
As the night wears on, the elder finally stands, and he holds out I'll say it's like a tusk, a hollowed out tusk from maybe some large umbral version of a walrus. And then it holds a pure glacier water or glacial water. I call this feast, this banquet, to an end. Tomorrow morning we say goodbye. And he'll pour the water over over the fire, which causes it to go out. As the other members of the Sept begin to get up and go their separate ways. And to the next morning?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Louis, however, doesn't sleep. He already had his 2 hours of sleep this morning.
So the funeral proceedings are held in the same cabin that you entered before, except now you can see that that many of the kinfolk have spent the night preparing it for such an occasion. There is a open casket, though it does not contain the body of Kachina's father, only an urn with ashes. Alongside it, many of his greatest personal belongings that were not passed on with him. A cloth nicely embroidered with his deed name, and his tribe, his sept. Most information on him carefully embroidered in fine Garu glyphs. Everybody is there are no chairs, but they're just sitting around. As you can see, there are little mourning being done, but only reverence and remembrance in the life of this great Garu warrior. They say, fights with honor, was one of the greatest men in this sect. He will be missed dearly.
Yeah. For once, Kachina's not wearing his standard stuff. He's actually wearing the traditional funeral garb. And he stands by the casket and welcomes people in, and a little puffy-eyed himself this morning, but tries to smile and greet everybody. And every now and again, Louis can't understand what they're saying because he speaks in Native American tongue of the Inuit and whatnot.
Question, by the way, Estes. Since Louis pretty much could spend the entire night doing something, would it perhaps been possible for him to create a small effigy in remembrance of Kachina's father? I'm thinking of not like a dream catcher, but you have those tripod-like constructs that is often used as a blessing from the spirits and such.
Mm-hmm. Sure, give me let's do Dex plus Crafts.
Mm-hmm. Of course, first I'll do wits and crafts, or may have captured blessing, because, yeah. That is -3 on the difficulty, and
Should only be
that's,
difficulty 4 then.
yeah, and 3 successes. So he'll try to make a. It is a bit of a rush job, perhaps, because he didn't have that much time to create something. But he tries to create something that what he heard honors him, so also carbon glyphs and such to that honor his name, and that will he'll with Kachina's blessing will actually give it to Kachina and say that it is in honor of his father.
No, Kachina will take it and thank him for his thoughtfulness and that he didn't really have to get anything for it, and that he's honored and that his father's spirit is probably looking down and would be thankful for it as well, and places it with the other things on the display for him to honor his memory.
As the tales finally wind down of Kachina's father, Rends the Ice finally stands up and holds a spear in one hand. And he speaks in the native Inuit. It is tragic that we are here like this. But also it lets us remember of what we are fighting for and against. It is my esteemed honor to lead this sept to the nearby mountains, to perform the gathering for the departed. And with that, most of the Garu raise to their feet and begin to head out of the lodge. And Rends the Ice walks out and takes one look back at Kachina and Luis and stares at them for a moment before stepping out himself.
And Louis had no idea what he said because he doesn't speak the language.
Kachina will hug his mom and say, I must go and pay the respects for the departed now. And then he walks in over to where Louis is and says, we are going to honor the right for the departed now.
If I am allowed to come, I will, of course.
Would that be acceptable? Says
Well,
Andrew.
Just go ahead and walk out. Walk out of the lodge.
Oh, Kachina's walking out.
I'm gonna. Can I make an intelligence etiquette roll?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with their customs, and I don't want to be like, oh look, I'm at your funeral. Harp, darp, darp. Well, it's actually a bad idea to do so. But that's up to you guys, if I can.
Roll them bones.
Alright.
Yeah,
And I don't know what the difficulty is, but I botch.
oh
So,
dear.
as far as you know, you have to be there, that you are preordained to be there. That it would be a slight on the entire Wendigo Nation if you weren't there, and if you specifically were not leading the howl.
Oh.
What? Okay. Alright. I don't have common sense, so I don't really can go against that last bit. So Lori will just shrug and after asking, follow Kachina.
As the two Garu make their way towards where the other Garu are sort of putting on their more tundra-appropriate attire, Rends the Ice holds his spear out in front of the two of them to prevent them from going any closer. And he'll look Kachina in the eye. This is not for you. You left the Sept some time ago. And if it were my decision, you would not be anywhere close to this. However, my sister, your mother, means a great deal to me. So there's something else you must do.
Yes, Reverend Elder.
He points in the direction to the other side of the tundra, to where there is a large pine forest. It seems to go on for miles and miles. In there is our wise woman. She has been out there many years, since before you left. Go to her. There is something you need to prove that you are worthy of. And he'll hand over a packet. It's like a leather-bound, keepsake.
A medicine bag, like little tiny, like leather
Yes.
bag. Yeah. Okay.
Present this to her without opening it. And when you present it to her, she will deem what you need to do to be worthy of it.
As you wish, Elder. Just out of curiosity, what rank is he?
Shelves?
I didn't specify. I'm going to assume he's an elder.
Okay. Damn.
All right.
So yeah, he's a rank 5.
Okay. Yep.
Louis just has a very confused look on his face, because he is under the assumption he should be there, but he's being told not to be here, and he can't really go against an elder, so he's just looking very puzzled at the moment.
Kachina basically motions for Louis, and we must dress to venture forth into the woods.
But
Oh, would you guys like to pause this here and we'll do another scene this weekend to finish this up?
I'm still good to go. It depends on you guys. It's
I
only
unfortunately
7
do have
o'clock
to
here.
call quits here.
Yeah.
it's totally
Okay.
up to you guys.
Yeah.
We can finish this at a later point this week.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
But
So we leave off with them getting their sealskin, fur-lined tundra gear on with the special glasses to prevent snow blindness, and Kachina basically outfitting Luis because he has no idea what he's doing.
And then probably, as you're doing it, saying, but you may be at the... I'm sure that I have to be there as an honored member.
No, it's fine, Louis. We talked, and this is more important. You should come and do this with me.
Okay, I don't want to go against an elder.
That would probably be for the best.
I will probably do it later then.
Probably, as far as he's concerned, they'll probably be waiting there for him to start anyway.
When we are done and we are back at our Sept, we will also hold a little thing for him. Don't worry.
I think they're us terrible people who are laughing about a funeral rate. They should call it a scene.